Alright guys, today I want to talk about why I don't drink alcohol. So I think it'd be best to start with why I started drinking alcohol to begin with, because that'll give a good idea as to why I got to the point where I am now and why I don't drink anymore. So, going back to the beginning, must have been around sort of 10 when I first tried alcohol. And at that time it was sort of like fun because it was like a forbidden thing, like you're too young, you shouldn't be doing this, and it was at a family party, so all the adults were sort of preoccupied with drinking themselves and being social, and then I sneak in a sip of wine, and I'm just like very sort of tipsy, I guess. I just remember lying there being dizzy, looking at a fly lying on the floor. It's all just a bit of fun. I don't think I drank too much. I just got lightheaded. But yeah, going forward, it was just like a social thing. So, and a reward really. Like I would get rewarded for like doing certain chores and stuff where I'd ask my mum to be like, oh, please can you get something from Morrison's, just for fun really. It must have been like teenager, I don't know, 15 sort of range. I started wanting to, drink for fun. And it was just for hanging out with my friends. We'd all be having a drink and just having a good time, really. There was no more to it than that. But then going forward, as I got a bit older, there started to be like house parties to go to. And I found myself, when I got there, the first thing I'd want to do is drink. And drink until I felt like quite sort of tipsy and like my inhibitions had gone and I'd feel comfortable. And this is something where now when I look back it's obvious what I was doing, but at the time I just thought, I want to turn up, I feel awkward, I want to drink until I don't feel awkward anymore. And I did this for years, like to any house party I'd go to or social event, be like drink as much as possible within the first 10 minutes, and then now I don't have to feel awkward anymore and I can have fun and I can talk. And over time, it'd just be like, going out, drinking, having fun. And that's sort of what the goal was. It was just to, socialise. But the side goal was to not feel awkward. That was sort of the main goal at first. And then it was just like, I'm drinking because it's fun. Well, as I got older, I sort of learnt more about, you are taught, well, here in the UK anyway, you're taught about the downsides of it from quite a young age. So I knew the downsides of it, but when you're out there having fun, you don't care. And when you're young, it doesn't matter to you. You don't give a crap, like the long-term effects. You're just like, oh, we're going out drinking. I guess it's just, you just don't want to feel sober. You want to have a good time. And then I started using it in a way where like sometimes I drink at home on my own just to have more fun playing this video game. So drinking was just a sort of a pastime thing, but it's becoming more of a like habitual kind of thing where I'd be like, I want to enjoy this more, so I will drink. And going forward, I started to learn that drinking was just sort of a crux for me, to get over my sort of social anxiety. And upon retrospect now, at an older age, I look back and it was just something where obviously just didn't really enjoy those environments, and using alcohol would suppress those feelings and allow me to enjoy being there. But upon retrospect, it just seems like those situations where I'm sort of enclosed around people, I just don't like it. So why should I subject myself to that? And not just that, but also the health downsides of having a drink became more and more evident. I'm just going to change the lighting. Sorry, my light actually just ran out of battery. So anyway, what I was saying was that the health downsides of drinking just became too sort of great for me. So I was, there was something, part of me that sort of enjoyed that feeling of like you wake up the next morning and you've got a hangover, so it gives you an excuse to like, I'm going to have this really unhealthy breakfast and lie around all day and feel crap. And for some reason there was some sort of comfort in that, where you're allowed to, I sort of gave myself permission to have bad foods, and I've got this day where I get to sit around and be sort of ill and treat myself to the foods I want to eat and the things I want to do. It's sort of like a sick day. I'll say sick day in inverted commas, but it's like a day where you sort of recover. And it's just, it feels like a wasted day now. What I used to do would be like, I would go out drinking, and then the next day I would go out and do some exercise like skateboarding and sweat it all out until I felt better. And that's how I would get over the sort of hangover. So it must not have been a very intense hangover if I was able to do that. But yeah, as I learnt more, especially when I started having inflammatory bowel disease, drinking became more and more of like a sticking point in my mind. I mean, for a long time I carried on drinking and using it to sort of mask my emotions. So when I was sort of really sad with how I felt, with my inflammatory bowel disease, I was drinking then, and that would just to be sort of to bury those emotions and allow myself to enjoy like a video game or something. But it wasn't going out and socialising. The most recent time I can remember was the last time that I sort of had a drink was a couple of years ago, and it was only one beer that I had. So for a long time I've like abstained from drinking, but I would have the occasional drink. But then I'd say about 2 years ago, I met up with some people that I know from the internet, and I sort of had that sort of background. It's not peer pressure, but that pressure that I felt when I was younger sort of came in, where it's like I'm in a social context and we're having something to eat in a pub, and I was like thinking, should I have a drink? And I had this like internal conflict where I was thinking like, do I have a drink? Like I feel like I should have a drink, and I'm not sure why. There's a lot of me saying I shouldn't have a drink, and there's a bit of me saying like, you really need to have a drink right now because other people are having a drink and you're in a pub and it's a social setting. So in my mind I was thinking like, I need to have this beer to fit in or to feel good. And I had the beer, and I won't lie, I quite like the feeling of like going a little bit lightheaded having a beer. But other than that, I didn't really enjoy it. And it actually, like the next day, my bowel disease flared up. And, as I learnt more, I learnt that just even having a beer, like alcohol increases your like inflammation levels throughout your body. And that is something that I want to avoid. So that's one of the main reasons why I don't drink now. In fact, it's one of the biggest reasons I don't drink now is because of the health condition I've got, and I'm just trying to avoid inflaming myself unnecessarily. So I would say having inflammatory bowel disease, that's probably a huge reason why I don't drink. But it was a gateway into like learning a lot about alcohol, and that impetus of learning about it and all of its downsides, yeah, of course, I'll stop drinking, because it's like one thing to learn about the downsides of it. Like when you're younger, you're told the downsides, but then it's another to actually experience the downsides, like so viscerally. And that's truly when I actually learn the downsides of it, because there's only so much you can like learn about something without experiencing it. You can know about the downsides, but until you actually experience the downsides, you don't truly believe those are the downsides. Like when I was younger, having a drink, you're having a hangover, it's all a bit of fun. But you don't truly believe that there are negative outcomes from it. Like that there are, like logically there are, but you don't truly know it throughout your being. Like you don't firmly believe it. Whereas now I do. And we've got this cupboard here with alcohol in, been there for years now, untouched. And I don't miss it at all because, I don't know, why would you? Once you truly know the downsides of alcohol, I don't miss it in the slightest. The only thing that I need to work on myself is becoming more, I guess, sociable. I think that's a better way of looking at it than using a substance to make yourself more sociable. It's actually just becoming more like practicing being sociable in social environments. But for the most part, I just avoid social events because they just make me feel uncomfortable. Being around so many people, just not an environment I particularly enjoy. And I don't want to have to use a substance to be there. So those are the main reasons why I don't drink alcohol. And I don't plan on really ever drinking it again. There might be a day where I give in to that sort of feeling and have a drink. But until then, I don't plan on drinking at all. It would be a bit sad if I gave in. But I don't know. Having a drink every now and then, it's not gonna kill you. But I don't know. I feel better within myself just having that hard sort of stance, like I'm not going to drink. And that sort of spread over into other things in my life. Like I'm getting to that point with like desserts and like sugary foods where I'm sort of drawing that line there. I'd say 90% of the time I'm abstaining from sweet stuff. And it's not like I crave them because I've been doing it for so long, but it's just like I feel like I just don't need that in my body. That could be a whole other video where learning about foods, and it's a similar journey. It's the same thing. And I do want to highlight, there's a video I watched about hyper processed foods, and the message he was saying was he was saying how to stop smoking in it, as his analogy would be. He was like, say you're currently a smoker, so you could say you're currently a drinker as well. Carry on smoking or drinking, but just educate yourself while you're doing it. And as you learn more and more, you will slowly just want to do it less because you begin to understand about what it's doing to you, and you slowly become sort of repulsed by it. And then at some point you'll just stop doing it. And I think that is the approach I inadvertently took with alcohol. It was quite a slow process, but I educated myself on it. And as I learnt more and more about it, I just stopped drinking. And it was only sort of expedited in the sense that I had this inflammatory bowel disease that made the bad side effects so visceral, like I said earlier. So it was easier for me to make that decision. Whereas for a lot of people, I think that could be my age or younger, or especially younger, but people my age, like maybe they haven't had those side effects yet. So it's not like those lessons haven't been shown to them yet. So they might need to educate themselves more, so they can understand what's going on and reach that point. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. It's just something that I've been doing the past few years, excluding alcohol. It's an ongoing journey for me because I'm still trying to figure out how I can socialise without those settings, because people use those settings like going to a pub for a drink and all that. It's a very common place to like meet up. And for a long time, I just was like, no, I'm not going. But I'm trying to work around that and try and figure out how to navigate around that for social settings. But I'll leave this video there anyway. I've said what I wanted to say. Don't drink. And I've said why. And just figure out if you want to stop drinking or not. I'm not telling you to stop. I'm just saying, educate yourself. And if you decide that it's better to carry on drinking, that's fine. That's your decision. I'll stick to my decision and we'll carry on. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please subscribe if you do like listening to me ramble on. It would mean a lot because I'm just doing this because I like it. And it'd be nice to know if people actually are listening. I know, like, I've been looking at the views, no one really cares, but that's fine, because I think just talking to the camera and committing what I'm saying to the SD card and uploading it, I think that that's helping me work things out in my life and work things out in my head. But it would be cool to like be able to share this with some people and know that people are listening. But yeah, I'm cool either way. So thank you.